Joining us tonight is Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. Tom, that's quite a spectacular moment where the three judges are basically going after Sidney Powell, basically saying to her, how can you possibly want to defend General Flynn? Wouldn't it be easier if you just kind of went along with all of us in the judiciary and just let the Justice Department frame this man? Were you stunned by their demeanor and the tone of their questions?
You know, we were in court last week, Lou, trying to protect a lower court's ruling that Hillary Clinton testify. And we got a lot of pushback from the judges trying to, second guess Judge Lambert's decision to try to enforce the law in his court. Now you have General Flynn victimized here, and I hear a panel basically having zero interest in protecting General Flynn. And, I tell you, you kind of get the whiff of politics here. And if General Flynn is to succeed, it will probably be because the executive branch, they're more concerned about the separation of powers issues that the administration has raised with the judge overtaking or usurping the power of the executive branch to prosecute anyone, as opposed to protecting the defendant rights of General Flynn, who's currently now having to respond to this terrible brief that was filed by this anti-Trump retired judge, Judge Gleason, to help Judge Sullivan figure out whether to continue to harass the poor general. It's really crazy. I don't see, based on what I heard today, unless they change, unless they kind of buy into the Trump administration's arguments. By the way, Lou, the Justice Department didn't file a writ of mandamus. General Flynn had to do the heavy lifting. They came along for the ride after the fact, and the court called them on that. Unreliable.
This Department of Justice is an enigma and many mysteries and a lot of secrets covered up. It is getting to be a little unsettling, to me at least, to think that this Department of Justice is not doing the right thing here. You're talking about checks and balances. We're talking about co-equal branches of government. We can talk to I think the quaint phrase is the cows come home. But the reality is this is about a Justice Department and an FBI so damn corrupt they went out and framed a former general of the United States Army. And they did so with impunity and with absolutely no fear of consequence. And by God, listening to this appellate court today, watching the slow walk of the Justice Department and their obvious efforts to run out the clock. After all, it's only 4 years after the incident. It's sickening to watch because that's what's at work here.
You know, when you see Lindsey Graham talk about the salacious and unverified dossier, Comey's known about that for years. They all knew it was a fake. Senator Lindsey Graham's finally asking for, quote, accountability because I suspect Senator Graham recognizes that the Justice Department isn't going to do anything. I mean, this is what this is about. The Justice Department isn't going to hold these top officials accountable to the rule of law. And if I were the president, I'd have appointed special counsel, authorize them to use the U.S. Marshals or a separate law enforcement agency. The FBI, he can't trust to investigate itself, nor are they going to the Justice Department proper investigate itself. We're seeing the results today in court. General Flynn, he would be in jail even under this Justice Department if Sidney Powell hadn't blown the whistle for him.
You know, I wonder if we're going to hear in his hearing any further about who gave that dossier, at least one of the people, his good friend, the late John McCain. What was his role in this? What did he think of that dossier? And perhaps he had some proximity to that, given their association and friendship. I mean, you know, the questions here pile up. They pile up in a hurry. And I wonder just exactly whose motivation will prevail here. that of the Attorney General, strong, driving the American way and a desire for justice now, or the old Justice Department that felt like it could go after, it could spy on a president, it could frame a general, a national security advisor with impunity. Because you know what? Right now, all of the bull aside, we have seen zero accountability for trying to overthrow a president of the United States. It is sickening to watch, and it is just as sickening to watch the national left-wing media blind themselves to all that occurred, to see no evil, to hear no evil.
Look, I mean, just last week we had an insurrection in Washington, D.C. that the president had to suppress. And they were trying to destroy the city, Lou. And what is the reaction of the establishment class in this town this week? Let's undermine the police with absurd regulations, and let's undermine the thin blue line that protects us from the anarchical forces out there. I mean, we have Antifastan out there in Seattle, Justice Department. I don't know what they're doing. Who's vindicating the civil rights of the American citizens being held hostage within those few blocks? The other city residents being forced to deal with this hostile organization organizing within its city limits. It's incredible. Yeah. The president's all alone. It's also interesting. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, he's all alone except for those who vote for him, who support him, and understand this is about the life and the death of a constitutional republic. That's how important this election is, and it is not one whit less important than that. As Tom Fitton well knows. Judicial Watch President, good to have you with us. Thanks so much.